Today on Grow Up, Level Up, we got a hodgepodge of news stories for you because Jordan and I haven't caught up in a while. We're going to talk about the Switch 2 delay in Canada, how I met Steve Aoki, and our hype level check for Last of Us Season 2, because this is the Grow Up, Level Up Gamers Club. Let's get into it. Come on, intro.
Waiting for the intro. Oh, you're frozen. All right. That's right, everybody. Welcome to the show. I don't have anything in front of me, but if you give me a sec, hopefully Samson will return to the episode. But currently, he is not here. He's totally frozen, and I'm going to message him on Discord. There he is.
Coming back. Did the intro play?
It did not play. I was ready for it, and then you froze, and then I did the intro myself.
Here's the Grow Up Level Up Gamer Club.
We're back. There it is.
All right. Well, I hope that was not an omen of signs to come. Welcome to Grow Up, Level Up Gamers Club. My name is Samson. I am your host on this weekly podcast, talking about all the news, previews, reviews, topics of the week about the games industry from the perspective of two folks who work a 9 to 5 and play games in our 5 to 9. Speaking of two folks, I am joined, as always, by my co-host at Sir Dr. JM, a.k.a. Jordan. How's it going?
It's going well. I like how you say, speaking of two people, you're like, here we are.
We are flying by the seat of our pants.
Two people.
we are two entities.
No aliens here. No bug people. No lizard people. Just two people
here yet.
That's right.
Yet. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. You might have seen one of our YouTube shorts, our TikToks, our Instagram reels pop off last week. Thank you for supporting us and subscribing. We do these weekly shows to talk about whatever we want, mostly video game stuff from a Canadian perspective as well. And as folks, like Jordan's a parent, I'm a full-time worker. I guess we're both full-time workers. And our gaming experience then. A little bit of inside baseball. Jordan and I were talking in the background about how should we rebrand a little? How do we realign our vision with Grow Up, Level Up going forward? But that will be news to come. We're working on stuff behind the scenes. So make sure...
Tantalizing,
yeah. Make sure you stay subscribed. Make sure you leave a comment and support us. If you like what you heard, make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure you tell us what you like, what you didn't like, and write in to our socials, onto YouTube. We appreciate the support, whatever it may be. Now, before I rudely disconnected at the beginning of the episode, we're talking about a few things today. First, we'll talk about the Switch 2. Then we'll talk about me meeting Steve Aoki, and then we'll end off with our hype check for The Last of Us Season 2, which is starting this Sunday. So definitely get ready for that. Well, Switch 2. Last week we talked about the price a lot. Did we talk about it getting delayed in the US yet? I think that news came out right after we recorded the episode.
I think that was the next day. Yeah, probably the same day the episode actually dropped after we recorded.
Right. So for those who don't know, this Nintendo Switch 2 was announced last week, and then like a day later, Nintendo announced that they are not discontinuing,
delaying the pre-orders in the United States of America.
And then on April 8th, so about a week later, I wake up to the news that Nintendo is also delaying the pre-orders for Canada. The date was supposed to come out, or the pre-order date was supposed to start today, April 9th, as of recording. But now it is kind of up in the air. Maybe even you just don't pre-order. You just got to show up and hope you get lucky.
That's one way to avoid scalpers.
That's true.
Limit one per customer or something.
I'm sure some people will find a way to loop back around or pay a buddy to stand in line or something.
Put on a fake mustache and glasses with the nose.
So last week we talked a lot about the price and how much we're willing to pay for it. Part of the reason of this delay, like They didn't outright say it, but it's because of a lot of the tariffs that the U.S. government is putting on all the countries around the world. And with all that unpredictability, I guess Nintendo doesn't want to risk setting a price, asking people pay the price, and then having to ask for more money later. That's just not very good business and not very good PR. So I think that's the reason why they're delaying it. But Jordan, how do you feel about delaying the Switch 2 pre-orders?
I mean, obviously it sucks, especially going into having such hype behind it. You know, I do wonder if or when Nintendo had made this decision, because that's the kind of thing that, you know, they wouldn't make. They wouldn't just fly by the seat of their pants with that, right? The fact that they announced the pre-order date to the world and then very shortly after changed it tells me that it was probably something they considered and really didn't want to do. And it really did come down to the wire. Now, a part of that is because of course, the American president and his volatility. They probably weren't certain if tariffs would actually go in place when they were supposed to, or when they were claimed to be, or not. And then, of course, it turns out they actually did. You know, but just again, the volatility of Mr. President there. You never know what he's going to say. You never know what he's going to do. And you never know what's actually going to happen, regardless of what he says. So I have a feeling they were really hoping that some of the tariffs and things like that weren't going to go into place. And then they actually did. And of course, that's when they're like, crap, we actually do have to announce that we're going to delay this. Now, I think, and this is entirely speculation, I'm not an economist here, but I think that the Canadian pre-orders being delayed is mostly just a supply chain delay compared to the United States. I think our pricing is probably already going to be what it was announced to be, whereas I do think pricing could change in the States. Now, again, I'm not an economist. I'm purely just reading between the lines, and I may be reading, you know, imaginary words there. But I have a feeling that in terms of shipping and things coming into the continent itself, it probably in some way, you know, some things come to the continent, they arrive at a certain port, and some of them go to Canada, some of them go to the States, right? I think that in delaying the shipments to the States, they are probably also saying, okay, that means it's going to affect our stock in Canada as well. But I do think that we already know we were going to have a higher price than the American side of things. So again, speculation, but I think that our pricing is probably exactly what we already expect, the $629.99 or $699.99. Whereas I think there's a lot of speculation that the pricing in the States may be adjusted to reflect tariffs. So
yeah, and it's hard to even guess what the price is
because,
like you were saying, there's volatility. There's just so much change day after day that I can see them not wanting to put a number on it at the moment. Like we have that $629 price, like whatever percentage is above.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll stay the same. I'm also not an economist. I'm of the mind they might, if it goes up in the U.S., they'll have to make it go up here.
Oh.
Yeah, which brings me to the question.
Don't hurt me.
What is the highest price you would pay for a Switch 2? Because I don't know how's already pushing it with $699.
I was going to say, I said last week, I really don't know if I'm going to get it day one at $699. That's a tough pill to swallow for a console that, like, I will play certain games a lot. Like, you know, I haven't looked at the game clock on Mario Kart 8 on my Switch. That's easily my most played game over there. But like between that and Animal Crossing, I easily have hundreds of hours. And the nice thing is, of course, my whole family plays as well, right? Actually, my wife just recently nuked her Animal Crossing town on her Switch. We have two separate Switches on purpose.
Okay.
And let my kids start her own town so that she could be mayor of the town. Well, the island, I should say, because it's an island. Anyways. But yeah, so, you know, the whole family plays games on the Switch, and between Animal Crossing and Mario Kart, hundreds of hours. But the Switch is never something, and Nintendo consoles in general are not my, primary or preferred place to play. If a game comes out on PlayStation, I'm going to play it on PlayStation, right? And that's why when the PS5 came out and it was, $750 with a game and a second controller or what have you, that's why I was willing to drop that. But 600 for the Switch is just, it's already pushing it. Maybe I ride it out until the holiday season and hopefully they do another bundle or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How about you?
I know I echo a couple things you say. Different flavor though. Like my primary system is the PC, and then I would even say like my secondary one is probably my phone where I play most games. And then I also have a PlayStation. I know I was half joking last week when I was like, do I trade into PS5 too? Yeah. Like, how bad do I want this? But yeah, it's like the Switch is it's in the nice to have category. I totally get it if like back if I was a kid, the Switch would be our only console and I would have played Fortnite at 20 FPS and I would have liked it. Yeah. But now with all this choice, like, yeah, I guess the Switch wouldn't be number 1 or 2, maybe not even number 3, but
interesting.
Like the temptation is there to play.
Of course, you want Mario the shiny Kart. New thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that. And then it's like the Switch has always been a friend, like play with your friends kind of console as well. And like I'm just the one guy in the friend group that has all the shiny new things. Yeah. So I'm like, am I obligated to get it?
hey, friend group, maybe you could all pitch in $50 just to bring the cost down a little bit.
Yeah. Then everybody has custody and ownership.
That's
it's
right.
like a weird.
They all get it for one weekend a month.
Yeah. Well, what is it called when it's like
shared custody?
Shared custody or like the parents co-parenting. The Switch. But other than that, it's really just like a party system. So it's hard to justify that have a price because even if I do get one, I'm not going to play it every day. Yeah. Maybe every weekend. Yeah. Definitely every party. But then is that worth $800, $1,000 if we're pushing it? I should have put that out there. I should have put that out there.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like now that I think about it, now that we've had a week to think about it, I don't know if I'd even pay $700 for a Switch 2 anymore.
That's where I'm at, honestly. Like it's not to mention, when was it supposed to release? June 5th. Yeah. So it's April now. So May, June. That's 2 months. Like, if you approach it from a standpoint of, hey, I'm going to save a little bit off each paycheck to, before the 5th, we just don't have that long. You should have started saving 3 months ago, right?
3 years ago, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Should have started saving by investing in, I don't know, crypto or something. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to get around it. You can always trade in your old stuff. That's what I've always done. I don't own many old things like you. Like a lot of my old things I've traded in.
Yeah, don't look behind me.
Pull out what magic nostalgic thing are you gonna pull out this week?
Let's see. I don't know. The PlayStation 2 is actually right here.
Oh my goodness!
It's a black square, so you can't really see it unless I move my mic here.
You can kind of see it. Yes, audio listeners, there is a PS2, the thicker one. I'm sure it plays DVDs. The PS5, way on the PS3. Sorry, PS3, way in the back there. And Jordan's also pointing to one more thing.
Super Nintendo Mini. I forget what they called it. Is right there. But I do have all my other consoles somewhere in this house.
Yeah. I mean, I would say those are worth more than a Switch 2. like just to have and to
maybe I'll sell them.
Nostalgic for.
Oh, I see. You mean the nostalgia?
Yeah, I mean, all the Nintendo classics are on this system now, anyways. But yeah, I don't know. Like after a week of thinking, I don't know if 700 is enough. And I keep using the 700 number because I'm not going to buy it without Mario Kart.
True.
That goes back.
Me as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying last week. Like, I don't think the Switch 2 is going to catch on for, like I said, a year or two. I don't think it's going to catch on for a long time because the Switch 1 can play everything the Switch 2 can. Like it really feels more like a Switch Pro. And I don't think that mouse mode is going to sell gangbusters. I think we're getting into the Wii U.
I hate mouse
Wii U
mode
situation.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard someone talking about that. I think it must have been ahead of their big reveal, but Yeah, someone was talking about how Nintendo always misses with their second consoles, right? Aside from maybe the NES and then the Super NES, the N64 was not a huge seller, but it was bigger than the GameCube, I want to say. And then they had a huge hit with the Wii, and then the Wii U came out, and it was not a huge hit. And then the Switch came out, and it was a huge hit. And now, if history repeats itself, the Switch 2 will just... Exactly.
Yeah. My brother was making the joke. He's like, that's why they released Alarmo. They're trying to break the cycle. But I don't know. The universe knows.
They're hoping that was the failure console.
Exactly. You can't trick the laws of the universe. That's
so true. So true.
Hope for the best. I mean, we'll see where we're at in June. Maybe I'll magically find $800 to spare.
Wouldn't that be
June
nice?
Is also the tax season in our city. So I don't know, your utility bill. I don't know.
June is the tax season in your city?
Some sort of tax.
Huh.
There's a lot of tax in Canada. That's why everything's expensive up here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But
sorry, you were saying I interrupted you.
No, I wasn't saying. I was just surprised to hear June is the tax. I was like, doesn't everyone file their taxes before the end of April?
Well,
you must not mean personal taxes.
Yeah. No. There's some sort of tax. I don't know. I've only paid it once, so I'll figure it out in June.
The BC tax.
And then I'll treat myself with the Switch 2 after I successfully pay off this $1,000 tax or whatever it is. So let us know in the comments. Are you still going to buy the Switch 2 with all this uncertainty? We are, less than 2 months away from this thing actually dropping.
That's wild.
Plus, we didn't even touch on fighting all the scalpers. Are you going to line up at midnight? Even if there is no pre-orders until the day it comes out, are you going to fight through the lines for it? Maybe it'll be like a Wii U situation where they're just on all the shelves a week after because nobody can afford it.
You know what? Nice. Maybe that's the move. You line up, you get 2 Switches, 2 Switch 2s, and then you scalp one of them for twice as much. There's a lot of 2s here. 2 Switch 2s for twice as much.
Don't give people ideas. That's what's been happening.
Yeah, it's true.
Let us know in the comments wherever you're listening, whether on Spotify or YouTube. We'd love to know if you're still going to buy it. In some of the comments in our TikTok or short video last week, a lot of folks actually said that they aren't going to get the Switch 2. So I was
fair enough,
a little surprised, but not I was understanding of that. So fair enough.
And one thing that I actually just realized, basically as we started recording this episode, I pulled up the Mobile Syrup article where I think they were the first ones to report this about Canada. Nintendo delays Switch 2 pre-order in Canada. And I was just kind of browsing through the article there, and they actually point out that when it came to the game pricing, the rumor was Mario Kart World $799.99, Donkey Kong Bonanza $69.99. $69.99. Yes. And I remember in our episode last week talking about how I wasn't too surprised at that games being $80, $90. I kind of thought that was pretty in line with PlayStation 5 and Xbox. I'm only just realizing upon looking at this article, and I'm realizing it because they put it after the prices, that is listed as US dollars. So they say Mario Kart World $79.99, and then they say about $113 Canadian, and then $69.99 about $100 Canadian. My brain did not form the synapses or whatever you call it there.
Neurons did fire.
When they're talking about the American price, they're also talking about the games in the American price. I thought they were just saying the games would be that cost across the board.
In Canada.
I did not realize that, that people are speculating that the games will cost more too. I'm just going to go jump off the bridge now.
Well, I'm just picturing grandma or mom going into GameStop, and then little Timmy is like, Mom, can we get the new Mario Kart? Can we get the new Super Mario? Mom looks at it, $120 Canadian.
And she's like, do you want to eat? Because if so, you can either eat the Switch cartridge, which tastes bad, or I can get a couple groceries, but only a couple, even at that.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was hard. Like when I was a kid, asking my parents for like a $40 game.
Yeah, me too.
Cheaper than I'm sure, but 120 is a different.
That's
you enter the
nutty.
triple digits. That's crazy.
Yeah,
especially when like a lot of games are free now. A lot like Fortnite is crazy that it's a free game.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing, right? You pay into any of these subscription services, which, the subscription services, of course, the cost will go up on them too. It's not an uncommon sentiment that like people don't know how Xbox is doing it right now. And really, it's not going to last forever, right? The price that they offer for Xbox Game Pass will go up. But, PlayStation has their similar level tier of PlayStation Plus, where you get a whole catalog of free games in addition to, I think, 3 free games a month. But between Steam, between free to play, like you say, with Fortnite, with whatever, it's a lot of competitive shooter style games
Warzone.
Are free. Yeah, Warzone, Overwatch, Apex.
Roblox is the big one that can beat any game. Yeah.
But anyways, just it really, I don't know if it's sustainable for companies to keep charging these premium prices for these premium games when. Is everyone just going to move to these subscription services and then, hey, you got to start adding them there, right? It's wild.
Well, Nintendo gets away with it because their games are actually really good.
Well, that is true.
And not every game is good, but they're different. They're unique. But yeah, if Mario Kart's 80 American, so let's just say 120 here because they always love to do a little bit of extra.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of profit off of us.
Yeah.
Then it's like, is the next Call of Duty also going to be $120?
It's
like, I mean, I guess that's $10 a month.
GTA, right? A lot of people are speculating that GTA 6 is going to drop at $100 standard. And again, speaking about these brain synapses that are now forming, I'm realizing now people are saying 100 American when they say that. That's going to be $135 approximately Canadian. Granted,
at least just make it a nice 150.
Oh God.
Did you
like you're paying for half a console at that point? A console should be $300 to $400 if you ask me. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, they eat the price, and then we get to play games, and we'll spend more money on games. I don't know. Maybe it's just a natural progression of things. Like nobody will buy Switch 2, and Nintendo has to knock the price down, kind of like what they did with the 3DS.
Just like the 3DS,
yeah. Shout out to your brain synapses finally putting it together.
Yeah, finally forming thoughts like an adult rather than last week I was a toddler apparently.
Nah, we are figuring it out. That's part of growing up, as they say,
and leveling up.
Let us know what you think of the prices. Would you pay $150 for GTA 6? 6.
Yeah.
That game, I used to work in an office. That game was made right across from us. Or like,
oh, really?
One of 2K Satellite Studios did something like.
That's cool.
I remember they moved into the office across from us, and they had like fingerprint security for all their employees. Nice. So I was like, wow, that's high awesome. Level. One day they left their little server door open as I walked by, and we were doing a little peek in. I'm like, wow, that's where the GTA 6 is stored.
You're like, look at that. I just saw the shark cards or something.
Some lights and bleeps and bloops on the servers at least.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're charging us more for it. Sorry, one more thing about this. That's like one crazy thing I always thought was funny was Vancouver. Lots of video games are made in Vancouver, yet we pay the American price for it. So I was like, what's up with that? It's made down the street from me. Why am I paying the American price for a game that was made here with my tax dollars?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I don't know. If a BC official can make it so video games are cheaper here because all the games are here,
right?
Maybe that'll be my platform when I run for politics.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Good. I mean, that's a great idea. I just, I think you have to be a sovereign nation to make that call. So finally, you're going to establish the BC Separatist Party.
Oh, yeah. If you guys like Quebec.
Do you guys have one?
Maybe at some point. Okay. I don't think so.
But you're not consciously aware of one because there is definitely an Alberta Separatist Party. Like
they want to be, or you want to be your own country, right?
Yes, like a bunch of idiots. Yes.
Make your own currency.
Right.
We're not here to talk about fantasy politics. I don't know. Now I'm thinking about being gamer president. Maybe in another episode.
Okay.
I did something cool last night, Jordan.
No, you didn't.
I swear I did.
Okay. Tell me about it.
I met Steve Aoki.
That's pretty
cool. Who that is?
Do I know who that is? Yes, I know who that is. I guess I shouldn't say that. Some people might not know who he is, but
yeah. I guess for those who don't know who Steve Aoki is, he is a music producer, DJ, one of the guys at the front of the stage with the sea of people going, "Oh yeah," like getting everybody hyped up. He plays his own music, produces his own music, work with people like BTS, David Guetta.
He has
cool.
Yeah. He has collaborated with artists such as will.i.am, Afrojack, LMFAO, Linkin Park, Iggy Azalea, Lil Jon, Blink-182, Taking Back Sunday, BTS, Louis Tomlinson, the Backstreet Boys, Rise Against, Fall Out Boy, and Kid Cudi, among others.
Yeah, so I pretty much don't know.
And Samson.
And me. No, he was in town in Richmond, in one of the cities near Vancouver, doing a meet and greet where all the proceeds went to Pacific Autism. So it is Autism Awareness Month. For those who don't know, April is that. And he came through to one of the Pokemon card collectible shops and did a meet and greet. I'm going to show a picture for those watching online. It is a picture of me, Steve Aoki, and my buddy Lucas, a friend of the show, Lucas, who was also there. He kind of helped organize this event, his organization, Pacific Autism. He was representing them, and Steve Aoki was in town, and all the donations to take a picture with him or get something autographed will be donated to Pacific Autism. It was kind of a cool story about how that how all this came to be. The store owners that this took place in, Van City CJ, so shout out to CJ and Jesse who owned the shop. There was an incident where a person with autism was targeted in their shop, and then Jesse wanted to seek some sort of, not retribution's not the right word, want to seek some sort of like justice or to make it right for the autism community. So I introduced Jesse to my buddy Lucas, who has done a lot of advocacy for autism and people with neurodiversities. And then I guess they talked. Steve Aoki agreed to do this meet and greet with donations going towards autism, Pacific Autism, and a free meet and greet was made. It was very cool, super chill. Steve Aoki signed a Pokemon card from me. Let me pull up the other photo. Does that work? Oh, no, I got to change the window. For those watching on YouTube, hang tight.
And while Samson does that, I'll just mention that apparently Steve Aoki's dad was a former wrestler who founded Benihana, the restaurant chain.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
He's a Nepo baby?
I mean, yes, he is. Like, apparently his dad founded Benihana. So
I might be crazy. I might be misremembering. But was like Steve Aoki's sister also in Fast and Furious, like a movie or something like that?
Oh man, I don't know. Let me look for family life on his Wikipedia while you talk about your card.
Yeah, so I also got a Rainbow Pikachu VMAX signed by Steve Aoki, PSA graded, of course, and he was super chill. I like his signature is like in bubble letters. It's very cute. I actually like it a lot. Yeah, no, he was super chill guy. I told him I liked his music. I don't know if he was tired or maybe he's just like had a long day, so he's a little introverted at the moment. But apparently after, he had to do a show at UBC, like for UBC's block party.
Okay.
So right after this meet and greet, he like hopped in his Cybertruck and then drove over to UBC to do the show.
That's amazing.
Did the thing where you cake someone, you like throw a cake at people. Super funny.
Nice.
I didn't go to the show. I just want to say thanks. I thank Jesse and Lucas and CJ for organizing this really cool event and getting me a sweet photo with Steve Aoki. And that was a fun Tuesday adventure. I almost didn't go. I was like, it's kind of far. What if he's too cool? But I'm glad I went. Everybody was there, and it was a super chill and fun time. And,
he was too cool, but he was too cool.
He was too cool. That's definitely
sweet.
Probably the most famous person I've met.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Actress and fashion model Devin Aoki is Steve Aoki's half-sister. American model and retired actress. Film roles include Too Fast, Too Furious, Sin City, Dead or Alive, and Mutant Chronicles. So
you're one of those.
had a bit of an acting career there, and half sister, yes. But
what a small world. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was my story with Steve Aoki
Right
visiting
on.
Vancouver.
That's a great card to get him to sign to. Like, that's the kind of card that you go to someone like Steve Aoki and you show it to them, and you can trust that he's going to be like, this is cool. Like, this isn't just some Gyarados. This isn't just some random Pokemon. This is a very targeted Pokemon for Steve Aoki to sign. It's Rainbow, it's Pokemon. VMAX, exactly.
Yeah. Big,
that's a cool one.
Big and proud.
Yeah.
Do you know about his cake thing? The caking thing?
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh, I gotta find a video. So one of the, I don't know if it's viral things, one of the fun things he does is I don't know what it's called. I'm going to say he throws a cake at someone during the show. So imagine you're Steve Aoki, and then you're doing the DJ, and then at a certain point in the show, people start chanting, cake me, cake me. There's people with signs holding up that says cake me. There's people on shoulders like asking to be cake. What does that mean? Well, literally, Steve Aoki will take a cake, like a giant cake, and throw it at you.
That's awesome.
And nail you in the face. And he's like really good at it. Let me try to find a video.
That's amazing.
I saw the video of it at UBC. Let's see.
Now, while you pull that up, I'm going to ask a question because you got me thinking.
Yeah.
You said he's probably the most famous person you've met. I'm curious, other famous people you've met and who might compare or be close. But let's watch this video first.
All right. So this is first cake tour is always the sweetest. Let's see if we get some volume. It's just a random.
That is a full-size cake.
Yeah. For those watching, it's like a birthday wedding cake.
Whoa!
Dude, isn't he good?
That was amazing.
So he's like, people ask for it. It's such like a thing to show, and it's more than one.
I see that.
For those listening, we're watching another clip of him at a show. People asking to be caked. He's getting the crowd hyped up. He randomly picks someone and then just snipes them with this giant wedding-sized cake or like party-sized cake. And I was watching one of the videos, another video from the other night, and there's like his I don't want to say groupies, but his like staff are lined up with cakes for him to take and throw into the crowd. However many, I guess.
That's amazing. I love that.
Let's see. Famous people I've met. Steve Aoki is pretty up there.
Sure.
I have to dig through Greg Miller.
Yeah, me too. We both got that one on the list.
Oh man, who else? Ooh, this is tough. I need to like dig through my camera roll.
I know. I'm sitting here
like if I
trying
can't
to think who I've met
off
before
the top
too.
Of my head, maybe they weren't that famous.
I've got a couple that
sure
that I can list. Now, one of them definitely is the most famous person I've ever met. Mm-hmm. So, like you say, Greg Miller. He's probably the least famous of the famous people I've met before. But important nonetheless. I actually met him in Edmonton here when he was here promoting the film Heel Kick, a wrestling mockumentary movie that he produced with a few kind of, I think they came from the Kind of Funny community, and they made a movie, and they invited Greg out to promote it, and then bunch of Kind of Funny people came out and everything, went to the after party and met Greg and all sorts of stuff. It was really cool. Me and my wife drove up. We were living in Calgary at the time. Anyways, so Greg Miller, but then a step above that, Bill Nye the Science Guy, of course.
Oh, that's cool.
He came and spoke at the University of Lethbridge when my wife was attending. I may have also been attending. I can't remember because I only attended for 1 year and then I dropped out. And she did a whole degree, but met him, got him to sign a book and everything. So that was cool. In sort of the same vein, but probably a little more well-known, Grant Imahara, of course, of Ghostbusters fame. Samson, you're muted, by the way. I see you saying things.
I said yes, and R.I.P. Grant.
Yes, and of course, rest in peace, Grant. He passed away in July of 2020. The funny thing about meeting Grant Imahara was actually my wife and I did a brief stint in Australia And when we were there on one random day, we decided to go to a koala sanctuary. And you had to catch a boat, and the boat took you down the river and then took you to the sanctuary. And it was on the boat that Grant Imahara, and he had like a little posse, it was like 2 or 3 other people with him, were on the same boat as us. So it started as like a couple people like kind of whispering and like pointing and looking. And then sure enough, all of a sudden this gaggle just kind of formed around him, and everyone was trying to figure out like, who's that guy? And sure enough, we found out. And like to this day, I will always say, one of the nicest guys. You never know with a celebrity if they're going to be super nice, friendly, if they're just going to be courteous. But I remember going up to him and being like, "Hey, it's really nice to meet you. Can I get a picture?" And he said, "Of course you can. My name's Grant." And he shook my hand, and he did the same thing to my wife. And he said, "Grant, what's your name?" And it was so funny to us because we're like, duh, like, of course we know who you are. That's why we're here, to ask you for a picture. So anyways, it was really nice meeting him. And yeah, that would have been in 2024, 4 or 5. So anyways,
24, 25.
2024. Nope, 2014 nope. Is what I meant to say.
Okay, I was like
14, 10 years before. 14 or 15. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, I love it when like somebody's like yes,
are human beings.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they're introducing to you as if they were like, as if you guys were just meeting at a party or something. Yeah, like I find that super respectful and nice.
Yeah. Did you think of anyone else? Because I do have one that is higher than that, but I'll let you. You go ahead. Okay. You go ahead.
I feel like you met a lot of famous people then. A couple of years ago, I went to Disneyland, and you texted me that Golden Boy was Alex Mendez.
Totally, yes.
And then I was like, oh yeah, that's so funny. What funny timing.
Yeah.
And then I think I was on my way out when I saw him walk by.
Yeah.
And in my head, like I was with my friends too. And we were like kind of closing up for the night. In my head, I was like, if I don't say anything now, I'm never gonna get to say it. If I don't say anything now,
yeah.
So then I said, hey, like it's like Golden Boy, and then he said, oh hey man, and we like had a brief chat.
Nice.
I was too nervous to ask.
I forgot about that.
Super,
so funny.
Super friendly guy.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Golden Boy, Alex Mendez. So like,
that's
one
awesome.
Step below Steve Aoki.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I actually hadn't thought of that. I met him at Overwatch League Grand Finals, of course.
Oh, yeah.
What year was that? 2023? Is that when the finals were? It must be.
Yes,
it was after pandemic.
After I went. Yeah, 23. Because I went in 22.
Yeah. I met him briefly, just kind of chatted and stuff, but obviously he was working, so kind of different. But yeah. Do you have anyone else?
Not off the top of my head. Who is the most famous person you've ever met, Jordan? Send us off.
If I had been thinking, which I didn't think until now, I would have pulled up the picture on my Facebook. So I'll try to do that while I tell you. But once upon a time, when I must have been 14 or so, my family went on a trip to Disney World. And on the flight back, just the way the flights worked out and everything, my mom and my sister actually had an earlier flight than me and my dad. So they took off and they flew back to Calgary. I think they went from Orlando to Toronto and then to Calgary. And me and my dad went Orlando to Montreal and then to Calgary. And it was just like an hour or so long layover. It was nothing to write home about. I found the picture. Heck yeah. But if you'll allow me to share my screen for a moment.
Can I do that? I can do that. Do we have the technology?
We have the technology. Share screen. This one. Chrome tab.
For those watching on YouTube, nothing has come up yet. I mean, for those listening on
Here we go.
podcast, nothing has come up yet.
Here it is. Now, blast from the past.
Wow, that is...
This is young Jordan. But that is Will.i.am. Of course, of the Black Eyed Peas fame, as well as just being a producer and R&B rap hip hop artist.
Yeah, Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah. So my dad and I had a layover in Montreal and ran into half of the Black Eyed Peas. It was Will.i.am and...
There's Apple the App.
I wish I could tell you what the other one was.
Maybe not Fergie.
It was not Fergie. It was not Fergie. Otherwise, they would have had a large security detail. They had,
yeah, that's right.
As if they
taboo,
may have
taboo.
Yes, it was taboo. That's right. They may have had, plainclothes security or something like that, just kind of guys hiding in the corner watching nearby. But they had no noticeable security. They were literally. It was like 11 p.m. at night. There were like 30 of us that were catching a connecting flight from Montreal to Calgary or whatever, a flight. And we were all just like hungry. And so we went to the one restaurant that was still open in the airport. It was like a Subway or something. And Will.i.am and Taboo were just sitting at a table eating their subs.
Wow.
And, 30 of us from the airplane just all kind of wandered over there. And then sure enough, there were a couple of younger kids that noticed him and were like, can we get a picture? And then my dad actually was the one that saw it happening and was like, he's in the Black Eyed Peas, isn't he? And I was like, that's like, Will.i.am.
That guy?
Pretty much. And of course, I'm wearing a Doors shirt. Like I like the Black Eyed Peas. I grew up on the Black Eyed Peas, but at that point in my life, I mean, look at my hair. I look like Jim Morrison.
Oh my gosh.
Literally the guy on my shirt.
You glowed up for sure.
Thank you. But so anyways, it was very exciting. And it was totally just a very casual. He was like, sup, man, and did the bro fist thing. I don't know what you call that. The grippy hand thing we're doing. Yeah. So anyways, he's definitely though the most famous person I've ever met. But
yeah, no, I think you win. I think you won here.
No, I didn't know we were competing.
I gotta dig through my photo album. I gotta figure out what more famous person I met. But that is awesome. Thanks for sharing. Let us know who's the most famous person you've met in the comments.
If it's not obvious, we didn't have a lot to talk about today on the show.
It's a bit of a gap week. But we do have one more thing to talk about.
We do.
And that is our hype levels for The Last of Us TV show Season 2. We won't be going into spoilers here. I think we both played the game, part 2
Indeed.
of the game. So we're going to try not to get into spoilers. We're just going to do a quick hype check, mostly asking the question, like, are we even going to be watching every week? Are we going to talk about it every week? Maybe. We'll see. But I want to start with shouting out another podcast, friends of the show, Jerica, Kayla, and Patrick, of Drop In, Drop Out Pod. And I think this started from JK Games, so Jerica and Kayla, doing a podcast called Clickerbait, The Last of Us TV show podcast. They are spinning it up again for this season 2 coming out. And I caught a couple episodes. I don't know about you, Jordan. I listened to a couple of their episodes. And it's a lot of like, I don't want this to turn to like a review of their podcast, but if you want some coverage week to week and to follow along on a couple other watchers of The Last of Us season 2, definitely check out Clickerbait. It is on YouTube and podcasts everywhere. It's from JK Games. But I'll start with you, Jordan. What are your hype levels for The Last of Us season 2?
Honestly, I would say my hype levels right now are kind of low. And that's only because like it kind of snuck up on me. I would definitely say, when they've dropped teasers in the past, like, past months or whatever, definitely like got my hype levels up. Really enjoyed the first season. Big fan of the games, of course. And very much looking forward to the new season. But yeah, just something that's not really like the front of my mind. When you said it was starting this Sunday, I was like, oh, holy crap. I had not realized it was coming up that quickly. But, once it's time to sit down and watch, like, hype levels will be through the roof. Of course, I'm going to be very excited. So,
yeah. I mean, I think it kind of snuck up on me too when they announced the date. So they always announce the date like 6 months out. So it's like you forget. It's like, why do you even tell us? Just tell us it's starting next week, and then I'll be hyped. But for me, it's weird. Okay, I already know what happens in the story.
Well, of course.
So I feel like
me too.
I feel like the meta-ness of it is I'm excited to see how they're going to adapt the story.
Sure.
How certain things will play out.
Yeah.
And then I'm also excited to see, like, and this is such a Vancouver thing. But
I know what you're saying.
I'm excited to see, like, oh, snap, that's that intersection. That's Chinatown.
Look.
That's not Seattle. That's Science World.
All I can say is you guys are thieves. because the first season was shot largely in Alberta, and I did the exact same thing. And I had friends attending Mount Royal University where they shot a lot of the university stuff, and they were sending me pictures from their phones and Snapchats every day, being like, "I wonder if I'll see Pedro." So I get it. That's for sure.
I mean, I didn't see
it is pretty hype.
filming here. It is, and it's like. What is it
so
called?
many
it's an embarrassment of riches because everything is filmed here.
Yeah.
It's like, there's like a random. I think I was watching The Flash once.
Oh yeah.
And there's a random scene. I don't watch The Flash. Somebody sent this to me.
Oh yeah.
And there's a random scene that was literally the park across from us. And then he sent it to me. It's like, look familiar. And I was like, what? I look closer. It's the park with the lake. I was like, that's so crazy. Funny. I walked there every day, and the Flash was there. Didn't even notice.
Well, obviously he ran by so fast.
Exactly. I mean, Twilight was filmed down the street from me too.
Oh, really?
This is true.
Hilarious.
Not down the street, but like a 5-10 minute drive.
No kidding.
I think you can drive by Jacob's house or like something, and there's still a sign that says Cullen on like at the front. Yeah, it's funny.
That's amazing. I love that.
Oh man, dude, I'll tell you this another time, but the Twilight lore goes deep within me and this community.
I have a lot of friends that are big Twilight fans. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyways, with The Last of Us, I'm excited to see the meta-ness of it. Of course, like story and all that. That'll be fun too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see. I went to school with a lot of women because my background's in like childcare.
Okay.
They got into The Last of Us.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see their reactions when certain plot points happen or don't happen. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, true.
So actually, through this conversation, I'm pretty hyped.
Yeah, I was talking about it now. Of course, is getting me more hyped. Like I would say honestly, I was at probably like a 0, just because like I arguably know the story, but I do want to watch it. But now that we're talking about it, I'm like, okay, I'm getting there. I'm elevated. If I watch a trailer, I'll be ready. But but yeah, and I would say that one of my favorite parts about watching the first season as well was talking to a lot of other people, friends, family. I remember like my mother-in-law watched it, and like I don't talk to my mother-in-law about video games, but hearing her be like, so this was a video game, and like how did that work, and like telling her about it and everything, and then her being like, I'm so excited, I know they're already making a second season, and I was like, oh, just wait. And like, so I'm excited to have those conversations again and hear what other people think about where the story goes. So
it is interesting how this one kind of broke out into the mainstream as well. Like there are lots of zombie shows out there. There's a lot of post-apocalyptic dramas out there, but somehow this is the one that goes mainstream. I mean, it's good, like for one. And
Pedro. Bella.
Yeah, Pedro. I got my mom to watch the first couple episodes, and I think her takeaway from the first episode was, I don't like how the girl swears a lot. She's not very nice, and I was like, that's part of the story.
Yeah, that's Ellie.
Like, that's her personality.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she finished it. Maybe I'll ask her.
Yeah.
But her takeaway was, I don't like how she swore a lot. Okay, pretty hype for The Last of Us. Catch it on Sunday. I think I'll be watching it, maybe not right on Sunday, maybe a couple days later, so I can watch it in my home, because I will be out of town this weekend. For why? Who knows? It's not that big a deal. We're just going on vacation. Well, that is our episode for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in if it's your first time. Thank you so much for bearing through our technical issues. I think I'm just going to leave the intro in. It's kind of funny.
Not? Why not?
We're, as they say, a garbage truck on fire. I don't think anybody has co-opted that. And if they did, I will pay the licensing fee to use that.
Wonderful.
To use that phrase. Let us know what you thought. If you liked it, thumbs up. Of course, really helps support us, especially a subscription as well. A subscribe, not a subscription. I guess that's like two different things. Bit of a tongue twist.
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Next week's episode, and why you want to stay subscribed, is an interview with an old colleague of mine whom we ran together at a video game meetup. So we were at a video game developer meetup. They are now working on 3D motion capture as well as VTubers. And that's a good reminder, Jordan. We got to figure out how to do that for next week. So note to us. So stay tuned for that episode next week. We are going to interview someone who works in the industry in 3D motion capture, as well as VTubers. I don't know what you call that. 3D motion capture.
Yep.
Stay subscribed. You'll see you next week. Jordan, where can people find you if they want to follow along with your antics?
You can find me on all social platforms at Sir Dr. JM. That's Sir DRJM.
Awesome. And you can find me at Samson XP on everything, on Blue Sky at smsn.bluesky.com. Yeah, make sure you stay tuned to all our socials, because I didn't mention this in previous episodes, but this channel is now 2 years old, and we have not done an anniversary event for it, but there will be changes to come. So make sure you stay subscribed and stay tuned to our socials for that. As we close out this episode, I always like to ask Jordan for his gaming words of wisdoms for the week.
And you always ask me for gaming words of wisdom, and I never give them to you. I just read you a quote from a magazine and have you guess the magazine. But today, I'm going to have you guess something that's in this magazine. Now, this is the June 2011 issue of the PlayStation Official Magazine. Featured on the cover, we have Lara Croft Tomb Raider. This is from the reboot, which of course came out in 2011 or 12. I don't remember.
I love that game. So good.
I only played some of it, but I enjoyed it enough. Anyways, featured on one of the pages here that I've now lost, so I won't worry about finding the page. Oh, look at that. It's page 6. Is a certain product that I'm going to read you a quick description of. And if you know, Samson, you can shout it out if you know what the product is. And if you know in the audience, of course, leave a comment to tell us what it is. And we'll thumbs up that comment if you get it right. So this particular service, of course, it's video game related, was a monthly subscription-based interactive online magazine for the PlayStation Network and replaces the jam-packed series of discs offered by PlayStation Underground. Available only in North America, the service offered high-definition videos, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage pertaining to upcoming and recently released PlayStation games. It also gave you exclusive access to game demos and betas, and it was available to download to the PlayStation 3 from the PlayStation Store, where users could subscribe for for 13 episodes or an individual episode. PlayStation Plus subscribers received this service free of charge for the duration of their subscription. And as a final clue, it was hosted or presented by Veronica Belmont and Audrey Cleo.
It was called PlayStation and Friends.
I like it.